Can you hear me, Jamie?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Um, all right. All we just do is we wait for like say 10 minutes. But we can still be talking, right? And wait for like 10 minutes before we get started. Um, yeah. So just give me a moment. All right. Hello everyone. For those that are just joining, we're going to be starting by 8:10. Right. So feel free to share the stream link with your friends so that they can join in. All right, guys. Okay, Jamie is back. So in the next 6 minutes. Can you hear? Okay, I'm just getting this. Can you hear me now? Let me confirm in the comment section if you can hear me at least before we kickstart. But Jamie, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, Favor. All right, very good. So we are going to be getting started by 8:10. That's in the next 4 minutes. This is just me giving like time to for people that want to join in, to join in. Let me drop the link in the Flutterbytes group so that yeah, a moment. Let me quickly set up something. Give me. All right. We are starting in the next 2 minutes. So yeah, youtube.com. Flutterbytes. All right. So it's just 1 more minute, and we should be able to start. All right, it's 10 already. I believe we can get started now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our very first live stream in ages. I think the last time we had a live stream was like maybe a year or 2 years ago. So hopefully we are very consistent with this. Today we're just going to be talking about Flutter and Gemini. Yeah, so we're going to try to play with Gemini. We're going to try to build like a simple or a small play project. So it's more like an introduction to what you as a developer can do with Gemini and Flutter. So as you all know, AI over the last decade has evolved from something that you know read about or something that is kind of like a mystery. So it's something that powers your search results, and even you can draft email now with AI, right? So today AI is not some it's not just about maybe predicting the next word, right, and the likes, right? you can actually we are trying to demystify where AI specifically where it lives, right? So today we're going to be talking about cloud and on device, based AI and also multimodality and beyond that. So before we get started, I would allow Jamie to introduce himself, and then we can then jump into like brief introduction, and then we can talk about the differences between cloud and on device, and then we talk about cloud AI, we talk about on device AI, and then we explore the cloud option. But yeah, I would allow Jamie to talk now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Caesar. I am Jami Okolawon, also known as Developer Jami. I am a mobile engineer. I'm a developer advocate as well by profession at Invertis. And what we basically do is to help empower Flutter engineers to become more data engineers, like to become full stack engineers, basically. So with Globe basically, and that's what we do. Today we would be talking about AI, as Caesar mentioned, generative AI particularly with Gemini. So hopefully we will be able to touch one or two, and you'll be able to leave with one or two um, addition to your knowledge by the end
Yeah,
of the.
definitely. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Jamie. So basically, today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about where AI actually lives, right? A cloud-based model and on-device, based model. We're also going to be talking about, exploring multimodality. We're going to be talking about, Google AI or Firebase AI Studio, where you can quickly experiment with prompt and see how small tweaks, would affect your output. And Jamie is going to be the one leading us through these whole processes, right? But we're just going to have like this brief chat about, Gemini, what he thinks about it, and the project we are going to try to build today. So we're just going to try to keep the stream for just 1 hour so that at least yeah, we're not wasting anyone's time, and then you can always come back and still watch and have an idea of what's going on without you having to watch like a long stream of like 5 hours. So at the end of the session, right, we'll also leave like a session for Q&A, so some towards the end. So if you have questions about Firebase, AI, or something around Flutter and Gemini, there'll be a session for that where you can ask your questions. And also, while we're talking, also you can also still drop your questions. We definitely will look at it and respond. Yeah. So before we jump in, I don't know if Gemini, did I say Gemini? If Javi wants to introduce Gemini and Flutter, right? Just like basic introduction for those that don't know what Gemini is, right? And what Flutter is and how we can integrate both together.
All right. Can you give me like 1 minute to go a little bit back, right?
Uh, okay, sure.
Just to add more context, right?
All right.
So back to AI. So we all know that AI is we allowing computer to do what humans can do, right? So we want to enable computer to do that. So there is a part of AI which we mostly interact with right now, which is generative AI. That's what we'll be touching today. So generative AI is that kind of AI that takes an input, a prompt from you, and generates series of output for you. Could be text, could be image, and so on. Right. So now back to your question. I wanted to touch that, so we
Yeah.
add context to our
In
answers.
context.
So we have Flutter. Yeah, Flutter is uh one of the most popular, in fact, if not the most popular cross-platform tool. So Flutter allows you to build uh, fast and beautiful mobile applications, web applications, desktop applications, and even IoT applications in one code base. It gives you high productivity, and well, I don't want to turn the call to glorifying Flutter, right? But if you have been doing Flutter, you would actually agree with me. And then Gemini. So Gemini is Google's answer to generative AI, basically. So Gemini are a series of models that Google provides that enables, or models that enables you to, yes, enter those inputs that I mentioned and also get a series of outputs. Right. So we have a couple of models from 2.0, Flash, Pro, and so on. And I think the most recent is 2.5 Pro, basically. So yeah, uh, to keep it short, it is the answer. It is Google's answer to generative AI, basically. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Thanks for the introduction. And I believe everyone would have gotten like the baseline, definition of what Flutter as a whole is and what, Google's generative AI is. So, generative AI is not something I might have explored it to an extent, but it's not something I've done like extensively, and that's the reason why we looked at this. We can actually learn. I can learn live, right? Meaning you are
Mhm.
going to be defining some of the things I'll be doing today, and then we'll be approaching, and then we'll be trying to like build like a project from that. But before we move into that, I think we should talk about what I mentioned earlier, right? Cloud, the AI model types, right? The cloud based and the on device based, right? What is the difference, when and how should you use this, and pros and cons, right? I think that's something we should have like a conversation about before like hopping into um
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
cloud and
Um, s- yeah. Thank you very much. Gemini had the like cloud. So in the context of Google, right? So let's say Gemini is the cloud approach to generative AI, and Gemma is the on-device approach, basically. So, what is cloud? What is the on-device? So, to use an analogy, right? Let's consider Gemini to be a library, basically. So, where you can go pick any books, like you can read this or that, science and so on, but consider Gemma as a collection of books that you pick, you know, on your own. So you picked this book and you created you use those books that you picked to create a bookshelf for yourself, basically. So the bookshelf is more accessible, right? It's in your house, but for the library, you have to reach out. You have to go and you have to, come back. So I think based on these analogies, we would already see what the importance of both are. So if you need the most recent information, right, or if you
yeah.
need a more recent, I don't want to use most because generative AI, they always catch up with what is most recent, right? So if you need a more recent information, then you reach out for the cloud approach, right? So and it's more knowledgeable basically than the on-device approach. So for the on-device approach, when you need privacy, basically, you need privacy, you need it to run without internet, basically. You need privacy, you need it to run without internet, and you don't want to pay for AI, basically. And that's when you go for the on-device approach. But yeah, we also know the advantage about, or the advantages. If it's on device, the knowledge is actually cut off to that moment. Like when you download a model, that is all basically. You have your bookshelf. To change it, you have to reach out again and get some other books to add to that bookshelf. So I think that's actually the difference between both. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Thanks very much. So, in summary, right, the pros of cloud AI is, it is updated continuously, and then it is also like the most powerful, like, version of AI you can get. And the cons is latency. It requires internet to function, and then there is this privacy consideration that you also highlighted. So if you want to go private, then on device AI is the one to go for, but it also comes with like its own cons, which is it is less capable because it's not always getting like the most recent update, and also it is resource constraint, meaning it is limited to what your laptop can do. which means it can be slower if you're using like a very very low end PC. Even if you're using like a high end PC that doesn't like support or that doesn't have that capability, right? It is very very resource constrained, and also yeah, latency, right? If you are using it on your device, I think you would have like lower latency, which means you can, get response faster. But also that is also still device, you know, it's still based on the kind of device you're using. The next session before we like, maybe start writing code is we have to talk about multimodality. And like I mentioned, yeah, like, you're the one I'm learning from here. So, what would define as multimodality in Gemini, right? Yeah, what would you define as multimodality?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the easiest concept when it comes to generative AI, because all of us, we have experienced it one way or the other, right? I think
Yeah.
when they release the image, oh, you can now process image. Oh, now you can now process video or generate video, basically. So multimodality, just to stick to the question, is the ability of these AIs to understand, to be able to process and to reason a different sets of outputs. They can accept different set of inputs, and they can also output different set of output. And we are talking about text, which is the most common. We're talking about images, audios, and videos, basically. So the ability for generative AI to be able to process those set of information is what we refer to as multimodality.
Oh, all right. Great. So basically, AI kind of like understand. It just means that we can have multiple models that can either understand like a text model or an image model, right? Is that how you define it? Yeah. So basically, that's what multi-modality means. Before we continue, before we get hands-on, because I know hands-on is going to take us like, sometimes because we need to set up and we need to explain what is going on. Right. Welcome to our very first YouTube live in a while, right? It's been ages since we did this, but it is something I'm hoping we can continue doing where we come here and we have conversations about anything related to software engineering, tech, Flutter, that. And then we also always like hands-on, so which means you're going to be seeing a lot of like live coding. We're going to be making mistakes together, and then we're also going to be learning together. So we are going to move on to the next session of like this whole life, which is hands-on. Right now, I only have like the idea of what we want to build, but I don't know what we want to build, right? Or I don't know the process to get there. Hi, Rexford. Good evening. Yeah, so I don't know the process to get there, and Jami is going to be walking me through the process. So it means I'll be sharing my screen. Jami is going to be telling me what to do, where to visit, and what we can experiment. So we are going to be building an article generator, something around that, right? And then we're going to be using Firebase AI Studio. We're going to be exploring with that, and then we're going to be trying and testing and seeing what we can do with Firebase AI Studio and then Flutter. I'll go ahead to present my screen, and then Jamie can start walking me through.
All right. Thank you very much, Caesar. Um, so while you present your screen, there is something that we are trying to address here on the call, which is or on this live, which is to bring us the developer side of Gemini or generative AI. What we interact with mostly daily is the chat view. We just go to Gemini.com and we type in our prompt and so on and so forth. So Gemini also allows you, or most of the AI allows you to be able to use your own use their models to build your own apps, basically. And since we are developers here, right, we want to help us do exactly that. right? So we will be walking through our thinking process, how we approach things from the testing phase to the building phase, basically. So, and when, okay, now back to you, Caesar. I see that you have presented your screen. So, what we do first is basically to um, test. So let's say we want to build an article idea generator that you mentioned earlier. So what the input is, like what the user would input in your app would be any random word like architecture, Flutter, anything, and then you will get a list of article ideas, basically, maybe 5 or 10, depending on what you actually um, put, basically. And the first phase before actually building is to go right to Google AI Studio, basically. So that's where you test as a developer. You want to test your prompts. Is it working as expected? You want to change your variables. Is it working as expected? Google AI Studio.
Google
You can
AI.
just, yes, Google AI Studio. Yes, that's it.
All right. So try
Uh,
Gemini, right?
yes, try Gemini. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, so because when you build, you actually have in your app or in your project or whatever SDK you would be using to build, you need to select bunch of variables to actually tune what you want to build. So you want to select your models based on which one will perform better. Or do you want to build just as we said, do you want to build a visual capable AI, right? Then you choose a model that supports that. Do you want to build an audio enabled AI? Then you choose what supports that, right? So you choose what support that. Do you want to build just text? You choose what support that. That's what you do here, basically. And here you also change the token count, temperature, and so on and so forth. Basically, we are going to play with some of the data here, and we are going to explain some of the data here as well. So now, can we complement this with Gemini? So because we try to engineer prompt as much as we can, right? But
Yeah.
we are on a time crunch, so let's just go to
But
Gemini and tell Gemini that we are trying to build an article idea generator that accepts an input, which could be a word or a phrase, and it should
so
help us generate the prompt. Yeah,
so should we? I don't. I'm not sure I use a paid Gemini. So
I think
is
we
it fine?
can
We can
we
use a
can
free
use
one.
any, we can
You
use Flash or
trust
anything. Yeah.
you trust the free one. All right.
Yeah,
So
it's just to give us a prompt. Yeah.
what are we requesting for? So we
So
generate
we are trying to build um we are
from
trying to build a, okay, generate a prompt
uh, for
uh
an article idea generator
generator.
app. Right. What
Yeah,
should he do?
it accepts
It
it
accepts
accepts an input which could be a word or phrase.
which could be a word or
I use
phrase.
phrase. And it generates, should we use 5 or 10? And it generates um five good article idea, basically. Very good article ideas.
Right. So generated prompt for an article idea generator. It accepts an input, which would be a word or phrase, and then it returns five very good article ideas. So so when we are putting in input, right? Say let's say something we're telling something to generate, like an article idea. To an extent, we might want to provide like, context like what field, say technology related, or say you want to write articles about oil and gas, or maybe it's a research paper or something, right? Do we need to add that to the prompt, or we're just starting with this for a
I
start?
mean, maybe for our app, we could make it support any article idea at all. Like you could
All
want to write about politics, yeah, let's just make it all knowing, right?
right,
And it
then.
could
So
generate it as a list of string for simplicity, basically. Yeah,
return it as a list of string. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah. So it returns five very good ideas as a list of string. So when we say list of string, is it in like form of like an array? So when you say list of string, if we
yes,
are talking from the that context, it returns it like this. Say um who who is the next Nigerian president?
yes.
And this is
That,
what you mean. So
yes.
um would we be able to get this response with when we're using it in Flutter, right? Would we be able to get this response, or we get this as a string and then we just decode it? Because one of the ways I used to approach list is maybe separated by commas or
Comma,
something. But yeah.
yes. Yeah, we could do separated by comma by any character so we can split it. You are right.
uh,
Um, Actually, we could do a structured list and ID and the likes, but just for simplicity, let's just do comma separated so we can split it.
right. Five
Yeah,
very good article right here as a list of string.
comma
Comma
separated.
separated. Separated. Um, we're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So stand just a sec. Why does this feel too simple? Create a
Yeah.
prompt that okay, create a prompt that an article generator. Wait, it's creating a prompt for itself. So create a prompt that an article generator app could use to generate article ideas from a user's input. The prompt should clearly outline the function of the app, accepting a word or phrase as input, returning 5i quality app. So what we don't need is this create a prompt, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You can copy from the an article idea generator. We can also use, I think you can use Google AI Studio to refine a prompt. So we can
Okay.
just be where we what we are interested in. We can go to Google AI Studio now.
Let me switch to Google AI. I switched already, but I was presenting just that. So Google AI Studio share. So this is Google AI Studio.
Okay.
Um,
So can we paste this here? And can we run just for a test? Let's run. Let's see.
yeah.
Let's see if it's predictable.
Okay, so
Okay.
it says generate five distinct and high quality article ideas based on the following user provided keyword or phrase. On the following user provided keyword or phrase. The ideas should be creative, engaging, and suitable for a broad audience. Each idea must be a compelling headline or a concise descriptive title. The output should be a single comma separated list of these five article article ideas. Do not include any additional text, numbering, or formatting. For example, if the input is sustainable living, the output should be in the format the future of urban farming, greenhouse cities, five
Yeah.
simple ways for. Oh, okay, this is very good. So, okay,
Can we run this prompt, by the way? Can we copy this and paste it below?
so we are running again.
Yes.
Okay, so
Or we
run.
could stream. Let's see.
So I should run this right.
Yes.
So run.
Let's see.
So please provide a keyword or phrase so I can generate five distinct
Oh
I.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what should
I think we should include the phrase in. Hmm. We need to include the phrase in the prompt, basically.
okay.
Hmm.
Based on the based on okay, so we can just come down here and say
Yeah,
this.
put the variables exactly.
So we can say so the variables here are user provided keywords. So
Keywords. Let's put
so
keyword equals
keywords
equals.
equals politics, Tinubu.
Let's quote. Yeah, let's quote it.
So politics. Let me take this off. Politics. What else again? This is fine to be honest. Keywords too.
Yeah, just one keyword, right? We said keyword or phrase, right? So keyword.
All right. And let me just. It's just a keyword. So this is singular. Then run prompt. The heart of the compromise. Why?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we get
Yes.
something. Yeah. Something that we can do at this point, right? So in case, or let's use tech since we are all mostly conversant with tech, or let's use Flutter because these might be good topics when it comes to politics, but maybe it's not appealing to us. So let's use Flutter as a keyword.
All right. Then let me update this to use Flutter. So we copy this keyword Flutter
Yeah,
run.
see,
Okay, beyond mobile. How is Flutter? Beyond
see,
mobile. How
this
is
is
Flutter?
exactly, yeah, this is exactly what I'm thinking of right now. Like, I just want to explore Flutter beyond mobile, right? You see, so these are topics that you see that the initial topics could actually be important to people who are in politics, right? Um,
Yes.
just like how we might be able to choose something that is relatable here. So one thing I
Uh,
wanted to touch, in this regards is, the items on the left, or is it right? Right, the temperatures, token counts, the models and the likes. Right. So and I'm trying to be conscious of the time as well. Unless they ask us to just keep going.
no, like, let's if the vibe is there, let's keep going. But we just try to see 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just to touch those a little bit before we move on to Firebase AI Studio, you, I think we would see on the right that uh, we see the Gemini 2.0 Pro. So, which means like if we click that drop down, no, I
Yeah.
think yeah, we can select couple of models basically to test against. Yeah, so we could test on the 2.5 flash, we could test on the 2.5 flashlights, right? So um and also we will just keep using Pro for now as it's the most powerful at the moment. We
Okay.
also have an option which is called just below the models. We have an option called temperature, basically. So, and the temperature basically is up to um, it helps to work on creativity, basically. So it
Yeah.
helps to arrange words basically that you see based on probability. What is most um, uh, what has the highest probability, basically based on this question, like based on this prompt that you provided, which one should appear first, basically. So if you have a lower temperature, then you get better facts, like you get more factual results but
Yeah.
less creativity, basically. And if you have a higher temperature, you have less facts, basically. You have less facts, but yeah, you have more creativity. So if you are
So
building a question and answer app, for example, lower temperature for sure. If you are writing a poem, an app that gives you, that generates a poem or story, you might want to use a higher temperature. Let it go crazy and give you all
yeah,
sorts. But yeah, that's temperature. I think structured outputs actually give it away, basically. So it helps you return structured outputs, could be JSON or mostly JSON. So instead of using lists that we're using, you can as well just ask it to give you a particular object. So with ID, name, this, that, right? So that's how we use the structured output. Function calling, the ability to call functions basically from your own app. So you are able to provide functions or tools to this AI to add more context to your answers, basically, and so on. So I think we should keep it at, it is at the moment. And
yeah.
if you don't have any other like additions here, maybe we can move on to code.
All right, all right. So basically, in summary, right, if I say I should increase the temperature of this guy, I could be getting Flutter versus Tinubu kind of like response, right?
Maybe. I don't think it's that bad, but
Maybe
it will
it will
have
be
a
very,
higher
very
creativity.
overly creative, right? Like it
Yeah,
will be
yeah,
overly.
yeah,
Oh, can you hear me now?
yeah. I can hear you.
Think my network went off for briefly. Anyways, thank you very much for that like quick run through, and I believe everybody to an extent kind of like have a basic understanding of what Google AI Studio looks like. Right. So after this, because we are trying to like work on a goal, right? We're trying to build like an application that we can generate article with. So from this, what next are we going to do? What next should we check? Should I create a project? Or should I go to Firebase AI Studio or something? So what's the like next step from this?
Yeah. So the next step would be to talk about the tools that we are
Uh,
going to use for this. Yeah, we know we are using Flutter, right? We mentioned that earlier. So, but
yeah.
what tool do we use to replicate this exactly in our mobile application? In the past, just to give us context, we have something called the Google Generative AI. Can we go to pub.dev, like to
Oh,
show that?
sure.
Yeah,
Pub. Dev. So give me a moment. Switching to pub.dev. All right. So generative.
Google Generative AI, I believe. Google Generative AI. If you type, it is deprecated, right? So if we type anything outside of that, it won't show. Yeah. So this is what we had in the past to interact with Gemini. But what happens, or I think the limitation to this basically is the fact that you need to get an API key in Google AI Studio that we just left. You need to create an API, create a Google Cloud project, get an API key, and put it here. And we know what adding API keys in our projects, in our mobile app, is like, what it does, right? So uh, it's not a good practice, even if you put it in environment variables. At the end of the day, it will be bundled with your project, and
can be
When
reverse
you
engineered. And
reverse engineered, they will still get access to it. So, and that's why, well, I don't know if that's why, but I will tell you that there is a better way to do that now, and you don't need to manage any API keys, and that's using Firebase AI. So, can we search up Firebase AI and check the documentation?
okay, so fire is a
Yeah. Yes. So this is the Flutter plugin that we use to enable AI basically in our Flutter and that project and any other project. And we'll be making use of a new feature in Firebase called Firebase AI Logic. Are you there, Caesar?
yeah. No, I am there. I am there.
Okay.
Can you?
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right.
So I think we can start following the steps in the Firebase AI Logic documentation. I think
So actually,
that's
on
in
this,
the
this is
getting started.
okay. So this right.
Yeah. Oh, is
So
this the getting started? Oh
there's a
no,
get.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's. Yes.
Okay. So this is a get started.
Exactly. So we are going to select Flutter and Darts. So we can follow the steps one by one, just as we have it here. So we want to sign in into the Firebase console.
Does it require my billing?
I the last time I tried this, I didn't have to add any card basically. So I don't
Okay.
think so.
A moment. Let me. What's the name of the article generator? So create a file-based project. Let me share the screen. Okay. Share screen. All right. So create a file-based project. Article generator. Continue. Enable Gemini in Firebase. Is this useful?
Yes, I think yeah.
All right. Google Analytics for a project. Continue. Select an account. Default account. Then create project. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think somebody asked we can use one more than one keyword, right? That's as I think that was a while ago, but yes, we control our prompts, so we can actually even add more phrase. We can add a phrase basically, flutter flavors basically, or maybe explaining flutter flavors, right? And I think that prompt should be able to help us generate ideas based on that.
All
So
right.
now we have in the what's new, right? We have the AI logic. So we can just select that.
I put this at $5 just in case. Uh,
Oh, did it prompt you to
no, I'm just
explain
just
this
in
one?
case upgrading to
Oh,
Blaze.
okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is the Firebase AI logic.
Okay, so we can get started.
Get started. Gemini
Um,
API, Vertex AI,
yeah, we can go on with Gemini.
enable. So by continuing, blah blah blah. We will create
Yes,
a Gemini API key and enable required APIs for you.
exactly.
Enable. Flutter. Flutter or this? Which one should we go for?
Flutter.
Flutter.
Next.
Fast plugin next. We need to create a project.
Yeah, so let's create a project now at this point. So
All
I
right.
actually did this process first so it can guide our Flutter creation project. We won't necessarily be, adding bunch of what we don't need. So we will
Yep.
just follow the steps. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to be creating a new project now. I'll cd into desktop and then Flutter create dash empty or should article generator. Oh sorry, a VM Flutter create. All right, cd article. Is my like terminal visible? I know my stuff's always like small, but let me zoom in. All right, so the article generator. Um, I'm going to use cursor and yeah, close Linux all gone drudge. So what we need is highs and Android. So let me see if I have Firebase login. NVM use 22. Firebase login.
You might want to explain all the processes that you are doing.
What did
So
he say?
you might want to explain everything you just did.
Wait, is
Um,
it my network?
oh, I'm not
Jeremy, you're
sure.
breaking.
I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now. What did he say?
Uh, so I said we might have to explain what you just did,
Oh,
right?
okay. Okay.
Yeah, I believe you created. You created a Flutter project. You ensured
Yeah.
before we can use any Firebase services in the CLI, we need to make sure that we are logged in, basically, which was the reason for the Firebase login. So, and you can actually check more details in the Flutter Fire documentation and Firebase documented Flutter and Firebase documentation as well. So, just in case you need more reference to why we did that. Yeah. All right. Caesar, are you there?
Yeah. Sorry, I had to switch my network. So, well, you already explained like what I just did, right?
Yes. Briefly.
Oh, okay. So basically, what I did was I created an empty project based off the command you can see here, Flutter create dash dash empty article generator. So the reason why I used the tag empty is so that we don't have that Flutter increment application, right? That's just the reason why I did that. And in the command line in the terminal, I cleared this already, but I just checked if I'm logged in to my account just to be sure. So writing Firebase login just tells me if I'm logged in and then tells me the email, which is a valid mail, right? Which means we can proceed. So I'm going to go to, and also me saying NVM use 22 is just me using Node version 22, all right? Because it was initially trying to use like 18 and then I can just tell it to use 22. That's all I did. So back to our project. We need to install and run Flutter Fire CLI. And how we do that is we come in here and then we just copy this command. Yeah, this allows us to activate the Flutter Fire command line. So that's pub global activate Flutter Fire CLI, and then yeah. So okay, let's see if the I know this will not run, but let's see if this will run. So command not found, I need to export the parts, right? I need to export the parts and then run this command. Yeah. So, which platforms should your configuration support? I'm good with Android and iOS, and like you already knew, I deleted the Windows, Linux, and Mac OS folder, and also the web folder already. So this is fine. Enter. Uh, okay. So next. Uh, so to initialize, we need to add Firebase core, right? But let's wait for this to set up. Um, let's wait for this to set up. So we're done initializing. We need to add a package, right, called Firebase core. Firebase core. So just simple start pub add Firebase core. Yeah. So somewhere here we also await we await this. So we import Firebase core, switch this to future void, and then we sync your initialized. So I think we are good. Um, we're good with this setup, then we can continue to console, right? I don't know if I missed anything.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything. So uh just so again they understand, these are just these are default Firebase setup that we do for most projects. If you are using any Firebase SDK or list of SDKs or multiple SDKs, so you will mostly need to initialize your Firebase app, and do things like this. So that's what we just did. So moving on.
Yeah, so continue. All right, so we have this Firebase AI logic.
So I think we are set up, right? So can we? So now I think we are ready to import Firebase AI now, and we can do our hello world prompt basically. So we can do a hello world prompt and get the response. So can we
So
move on? Yeah.
so I should go to the Firebase AI documentation, right, which
No,
is
we are in
this.
step two now. Step two. No, step two. This is step
Yeah,
three. We should go up to step two.
and this is step two. Step two, we're done with step two.
Have we added Firebase AI?
Have we had it Firebase AI? Oh, okay. We've not actually.
Yes, I think we should.
So let's take out Firebase core.
Okay. So can we proceed to step three now? I think we are good. Hmm. Pods.
Declare as the highest pod install. Let's first even see. Well, okay, so highest pod file. Let's take this to like 15 so that it doesn't stress me. All right. So let's wait for this is just me trying to fix like this iOS issue. Once we're done installing like everything Fab is related right on pods, then we can move on. So we're trying to run the Flutter project now. So this is very
Yeah.
hard.
I,
All
I
right. So
think
this
before we run the Flutter project, Oh, I think we can proceed to run it. Yeah. I,
All
I
right.
wanted to like maybe have us do the hello world, and then when we run it, we will see the
Oh,
result
okay.
in the time.
I can pause. I just needed to make sure Pod was not going to give me a problem. I've stopped this.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
So
So can
okay.
we copy, yes, what we have here, and maybe
Okay.
paste it after the initialization before we run the app. Yes. So can we give it a prompt like hello world? Okay, I think step 4 shows us how to do that.
So in step 4, final prompt. Then we'll paste this guy here. Hello, hello, boys. Hello. Okay, so prompt, and then we can do final response. Um, Final response, and let's just why can't we can just take this to anyways. What's the response type like? So the response is generate content response. So final generate content response. Say required this so response. Then this can be constant anymore. So we can do response. And so what are the values that comes from here that I'm supposed to show on the
So that would be response dot text, I believe. Yeah.
response dot text? Okay. Um,
Yes.
or yeah, returned an
Not
empty response. Okay. All right. So I can run this now, right?
Yes, let's proceed to run this. While we run, we can quickly explain what we added, right? So basically, from the top, we we selected our model, basically. So through the Firebase AI plugin that Google provided, we selected um, the Google AI package, and then we use that to also select the model we are interested in. Now we are using Gemini 2.5 Flash, but we can also use 2.5 Pro. Then we created the prompts, right, which could be a text, it could be an image, could be anything, audio, and so on. And then we used the model to generate a content, passing in the prompt, basically. So, and we passed in the response of the prompt to our main app, and we are displaying that in uh, our scaffold and main area. So Flutter engineers will get this. So we added a padding, and that's it, basically. So I think you can already see we just replicated everything or most of the things we did in Google Studio just now. So what's left for us basically is to add an input, and based on what we have in that input, we want to display a list of output, and that's it. We are good. And from here, we can literally build just anything, just anything. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So we have like the basics or the foundation of our app already. So what we let me see. I hope no one has like a question. Okay. So what we have, right, is we already like told the model to write a story about developers and hello world, right? And then there's this funny story. Yeah. So the home blah blah blah. It's a very long story. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to build an application, right? An article generator application. So based off these concepts that we already have this conceptual understanding, this basic concept of how, generative AI works and how to use it in your Flutter application, we're going to build an article generator application. So if you remember earlier, there was this prompt we worked on somewhere in the Google Chat AI Studio. We're going to find a way to bring in this prompt into this screen. And by the way, in order for us not to take too much time trying to build like UIs, right? We're going to be using maybe Gemini for Claude. Let me use Claude. It's been a while. Let me see what Claude looks like. Okay. So also this is a free plan. I can just tell it to generate a very modern and sleek UI for an article generator.
Ideas generator.
Idea generator. Great. Great. It takes in an input of prompts, and then it returns a list of articles that can be generated. So there's a problem with the last, I was not going to highlight that until now. So I think it's something we are going to look at very soon. So we just try to refine like our prompt. So if you look at this, we told it to give us comma separated response, right? And then this was the response we got. So it was saying beyond mobile, and then it comes to this, and then I don't know what this means, but I want it to be strictly comma separated. So I think it is generating like, maybe I don't know what this is called, and then the article title, right? Maybe we can modify that. This also works. This is not a bad idea, but again, we can make it like smaller. Can make it smaller. Well, yeah, back to this guy. So it takes in an input of keywords. It takes in a keyword input and then returns a list of articles that can be. Oh, mad. Anyways, I sent that by mistake. Hopefully, it understands.
This is not. This is it.
Yeah, that
I'm not
means it's
that.
been a while because by default it's supposed to just generate Flutter for me because I use Flutter actively. But anyways, it takes in a keyword input and then it returns a list of articles that can be generated. A list of articles. Um, use Flutter. All right. Okay.
So while this is being generated as well, I think I should mention because article idea generator, the inspiration was from Idris Olubisi's article idea generator, basically, which you can see at articleideagenerator.com. I wanted to mention that because that was his idea, and I think it would be important to state that. So
All
yeah,
right. So article idea generator .com, right? Or .app.
yeah, I think it's .com article idea
So this guy.
generator.com. Oh yes, this guy.
All right. So for
So
those out there, check it out. Feel free to.
yeah.
Okay. So copy. So we're only interested in the screen. This guy was just doing it soon. I think it might have done more than I asked it. Because why is it so long?
There are some animations and all that it added. So
Okay, let's see.
And
Um,
also was not considering that article ideas should just be a list of string, basically. I'm seeing an object. And let's see what it compiles to, what it shows.
let's comment this out. Okay. Okay. This is nice. So let's say hello, and then we click on this guy. Uh, Life is simpler, right? Oh, it did not. Okay, let me tell you to generate. Oh, it's just idea we need. We're
Yeah,
good
just the
now. It's just
yeah.
idea
Maybe
we need.
what we can do is we can just add like um uh a default text to the description, tags, and the likes, right? So
Alright.
what we need is just that title.
All right. Okay, guys. So we have our screen. We just run through this. I did not know Claude was this good, right? It's been a while since I just use free chat GPT. I don't even have a paid course. So, well, yes, it seems I'll start using Claude from now on again. Anyways, so we have like our article generate idea generator UI. And by the way, it might also be the prompt. So generate a very modern and sleek UI for like an article idea generation screen. So in case you're wondering why it is giving me a very, very nice UI and you're not getting the same on your hand, you might want to highlight that you want something modern and sleek, right? Yeah. So, all right. So what we have is we have like an article idea generator screen, and then we have this description, and then we can pass in the keyword. So when we pass in the keyword, what we are expecting is we're expecting a response, right? We're expecting a response, a list of, say, 5 articles. So what we are going to do is instead of calling like the model here, we're going to be calling it somewhere here, somewhere in this like article generator screen. And then whenever we click on this icon here, what we want to do is we want to like call the Firebase AI and then pass on the prompt with the keyword and then it returns the response. So we're going to do that. Do that. So how where do we start from? Where do we start from? How are you taking charge? So this is the form
We
on
can check the
submit.
method hooked up
Yes.
to yeah.
Yeah, so this is where we're going to be calling the Firebase article, the Firebase AI. So we're going to come in here and copy this guy. Copy
Including the
this.
response too.
Okay, that's true. I'm going to
Or
copy
we
this
can
guy.
just remove it or cut it because we don't need it there anymore. Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so let's come back down. Generate article idea. Generate article ideas. So final modern model rather. Final response, blah blah blah. So this is supposed to come after the set state. And then we comment this out because we don't need a delay. This is enough. And then we go back to our charts. So generate 5 distinct blah blah blah. And then we paste it here. So I would prefer to use a multi-line string and then keyword floater. Keyword
The
floater.
keyword will now be the test controller text.
Keyword controller the text. And then we have our response. And then no, don't generate mock ideas. So what will happen is we are going to split. Okay, so we're going to final splitted article ideas equals to response the text the split by comma. So this is going to help us separate, and then to list. So if it doesn't return this, we just return an empty. So splitted article hiders, and then we can map it. So splitted article hiders, just map article hider, and then we can go, what's the model again? Yeah,
That's
article
right.
ID.
Yeah.
Say then the title is the article idea itself. Then we can just put this
You
to
can put
fill in.
every other. Yeah.
What we are interested in is just the article idea. So ideas, oh, it's a set. So
Or
I
list
don't know.
or something.
It's now we switch it to set, or we just make this one to set. Wait a
Oh,
second.
is the article idea supposed to be a set?
No, no, it's not even supposed to be a set.
No, no, no.
Uh,
It's yeah. It's
yeah.
this.
So this is article. It's a list. Dot map. Then you have to list. So that's correct. So
Yeah.
we shouldn't have any problem. Let's hope. Just alt restart, and then pass keyword flutter and run.
This will be slower because of the generate mock ideas.
I actually did simulate. It was simulating like API calls, right? So I commented this out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
generate.
okay. I see. Yeah.
Uh, let me see what the
So
generate. It doesn't do anything, but
yeah,
I
let's
can
just
just
remove it. Yeah.
take it. So yeah, this is what we have.
Yeah. We are
You
good.
might want to explain to, yeah, you might want to explain what we've done, basically.
All right. I think you explained it as we move on. I'll just do a recap, right?
Yeah,
So, what we try to do, or what we have been trying to do, is to ensure that we make use of AI all through, which we did. I actually thought it was a bad idea, um, but Caesar went, he went through it anyways. Generating the UI with AI is something that I really, hmm, should I, should I not? But I think it convinced me otherwise, anyways. So we used Claude, we can use Gemini as well. We could use ChatGPT as well. So we used it to generate a sleek screen or a sleek UI, right? And the method we called in the past, which was to generate to get our model to create a prompt and to generate content, we called those again. We just replaced the mock layer with our AI at the moment, and we mapped our response to the models that we are returning on the screen, basically. And like I said, this is just the beginning, right? I mean, you could build just anything with this. You can generate images, you can add context to this, right? And maybe we should do that before we close. Can
okay.
we check generative model briefly? Like the other
Generate.
arguments, yeah, the model itself. We should be able to
Okay.
pass other arguments to it.
So we can pass in safety settings,
Yeah.
generation conf.
Safety settings,
Um,
config tools, and system instruction. So I want to explain. I'm interested in explaining safety settings, right? So can we check out the safety settings? Can we try to set it?
oh, we should try to set it. Or you want
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
talk about this?
Oh, you said?
Okay. This. Oh, I was saying we should try to set it, or you want to talk about the safety settings as a class?
Like we wanted to,
Safety.
set it. Like we don't necessarily need to call the model with it, but basically the safety settings helps us. I've not done this with Firebase AI. Yeah, exactly with Firebase AI, but I've done it a lot with Google Generative AI. But
Yeah.
you are able to filter out certain things, as you can see. dangerous content, harassment, hate speech, sexually explicit, and all of these values you can filter them out. I think this we will talk about this more when we talk about responsible AI, right?
Yes.
There are topics around using AI responsibly, and that's where you actually need this or these values the most. So you can use it to just block your app not to do all of this, right? And you can also set the threshold in 0 to 1, right? How much do you want this content to be shown, right? Or to appear in your list of generated response and so on, right? So that's the safety setting. And there's one other item that I saw there, which was system instruction. So system instruction is just a way tell to add additional instruction to this. So you have your own prompt, which we created down there, right? You can also
Yeah.
give some sort of rules initially, basically. So your model will always conform to that rule. For example, let's say we want this to be in a legal context, right? So we can give it a system instruction, in that regards. So it's just to just to constrain you to that,
Yeah.
the instruction basically, because that will be prioritized before the user instruction basically. And you have a bunch of other methods or bunch of other things that you can set. We can't actually explain everything on the call, but feel free to experiment. Feel free to try things out. If I were you, the first thing I would try out right after this call would be the structured output basically. So that was what I would experiment. Well, that was me. So that could be you too. So I think
Uh,
that's all I have to say for now. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Thank you very much for like this wonderful session. And I believe everyone, whether you like it or not, you've taken something from this. Right. Because I think the last time I used like generative AI in Hub was when generative that initial like that generative AI where you need to pass like your API key and the likes where we actually did have issues with like security concerns and the likes like that. Then I'm happy we have like a new a new package that we can always explore. So for those that want to build this out, right? Because yeah, let's say you want to make this. Oh, I'll just try to do is I'll try to push this code. I'll clean this up, push the code to GitHub. If you want to contribute to the code, right, or maybe you want to build this or you want to make this better, right? I think this is a very very good start. And that means we are like at the end of or getting closer. We used almost 1 hour 30 minutes, right? Because yeah, we're building something very very interesting. So that means we are almost at the end of this section, right? And if you have any question, please you can drop it in the comment section. If you have any question you want I or Jamie to answer, you can drop it in the comment section. And for those that don't know, this is kind of like a pre-series to our Flutterbyte conference. If you don't know, our Flutterbyte conference is happening sometimes in November. I think Jam, you can talk more about that and what to expect this year, right? Jamie, I don't know if you want to jump in.
Yeah. So Flutterbyte conference is a conference where we bring together Flutter engineers across Africa and outside Africa together. We bring about 500 engineers every year to talk, to learn, to connect with other Flutter engineers, basically. Right. We've had the first, second, and third edition, and this is the fourth edition. The theme for this year's edition and why we are actually opening with AI is we are looking at Flutter as the framework of the future. So the framework that we will use more often as we move on to 2030, right? It's ready, it's AI ready, AR ready, any futuristic technology you can think of. I think Flutter is ready for it, basically. And coupled with the fact that you can use it on all possible clients you can think of. So we believe you could do more with Flutter, and that is what we are exploring this year. We are hoping to see you there. It is the first, right? Started in 2022, the biggest right now in Africa, and we want to keep it that way. We want to keep it that way. So let's come, let's connect, let's interact, and let's learn. So let's come in to the Flutter conference, and let's go out with more knowledge, basically, regardless of where we are in our journey. So yeah,
Yeah, thank you very much for that introduction. For those that want to learn more about the conference, I share the link. I share the link. You can visit flutterbytesconf.com and then you can check through if you want to buy tickets. I don't know if the ticket is live already, but if it's live, you can buy a ticket from the website. And yeah, that means we have come like to the end of this series. So for those that don't know what this series is about, this series is a series that we're going to be doing continuously, right, judiciously, and we're going to be having developers the on this YouTube live, and then we're going to try to maybe have conversations about technical topics, or we build like we just did now. So the next time we can come in and say, oh, we want to make this article idea generator better. Let's say we want to even be writing articles from this article idea generator. So take for instance, I'll give like an idea that you can explore because I'm going to push this code. Feel free to start, fork, and then play around it. The idea, this is how I feel like this article idea generator would work. So take for instance now, you generate the idea, right? We have this idea. You click on this, and then when you click on this, it takes you to another screen that does kind of like this quick research, right? So it researches on the topic, and then it provides you with like clickable context that you can add to to your next prompt, basically. So it's just going to be like a builder all through. So you build your articles. The first screen is it generates like an article idea. Then the next screen is it does like this research for you, and then you can click on context that you want to add. Then we move to the next screen where it works on different version of your articles for you. So it sets different tones, etc., etc. But yeah, feel free to explore that idea. It's something that can make you money. So just clone on GitHub, right? And then you can explore the idea, try to build it. I might even build it myself. I might build it myself. But let's see.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
was even thinking maybe we can extend it from just an article idea generator. Just let me know what you think about this, and the audience too will let us know what they think about it. I'm thinking of running a campaign, right? With what we have learned, basically, let's build something interesting and
Uh,
let's post it on Twitter and tag Flutterbyte. I might be giving out my own dash so to like the engineer or
all
something
right.
else, right? It was yeah, but it depends on whether you guys want to participate in that.
All
Yeah.
right. Let me create while we're on this call. Let me create like a new repository, and then just so I'm going to create a new repository on the Flutter Byte IO. For those that are not following us on GitHub, make sure to do that. Article idea, and then public. So I can just share the link here, and then if you want to clone, feel free to clone, create repository. So what we just need to do is git init cd. There's one more thing I need to do. Um, so copy relative parts. I need to add this to my git ignore so that people are not stealing my API key. Uh, yeah, coming git init just to be sure. Okay, and then there's the 100 parts. So copy relative parts, and then yeah, then there's also these Firebase options. copy relative paths. Yeah. Okay. So just add all of these. My favorite initial where it's all began instead of init commit. That's what I always use. Git branch. I prefer master. Let's just master and then remote and then git push origin master. All right, so where's our GitHub? That's weird. Did I close that? Okay. Oh, all right. So I have it live. There is no good documentation. There's no good documentation, but since you already watched the live, it just means you have like an idea. I'll link this up. Go to the Flutterbyte GitHub page, and then article idea. And yeah, basically you can clone the project and we can maybe work on some, we can make this into like a very, very real product, to be honest. Right, it's something we can always come on live and then try, if we're going to build on top of this, try to build like the next idea. I'm also going to try to refactor on my hand. But yeah, Jamie, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Well, at this point I don't. All right. Yeah. I need 5 people to say they would participate in the activity or not. Right. Maybe we'll make it an activity or not. Basically.
All right.
We can-
Let's right. We have like 9 people. Just drop like a comment, like 5 people. We just need five. Should we make this an activity? Is this something we should build out, or and we should just scrap the project? Um, it's okay.
Yes.
One.
The first yes. The
Yes.
second yes.
Okay. So we just have 2 years. It looks like this. Nobody's interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll still try to build it out. I know that some people, maybe it could be network issues. Some might be listening, might still be at the middle of like our conversation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would build this out. It could be like a series, and then we'll just always make the announcement on the Flutterbyte conference group or on my page, on Jamu's page. We're going to talk about it. Yeah, so this is a series, like I mentioned, this is a pre-series, meaning we're not just going to be talking about Gemini, we're going to be talking about some other, like, some other interesting topics too, right? And we want to be doing this every Sunday the same time. So Sunday 8 p.m. and we're going to drop, like, we're going to drop the topic we're going to be talking about, and we would share it on LinkedIn, on whatever social media platform you're familiar with. And we can always come in here, we can talk about concept, we can try to build from scratch just like we did today. And basically that is all from my hand also. And since yeah, like we mentioned, we're going to build in this, since that is all from my hand and I believe there are no questions, right? And I will already share the repo link. Thank you very much for joining our live stream. It's been like an interesting session. Is it's it's something I've always wanted to do, by the way, but procrastination and me finally doing this and we finally doing this is something that I am happy about. I feel like this is the first step to doing this continually and continuously. That will be all from my hand. That will be all from Jami's end too. See you next week. Yeah, thank you very much.